Hi, today my group included by Tom, Alice, Tracy, me from 9 to represent about cognition illness. First thing, we will present about cause of illness, symptom, prevention, and relevance to Vietnam.
Thank you, Tracy, for introducing the group and go briefly over what we're going to talk today. So now I'll present to you about the cause of VSD and PDA. So first, we all know that congenital illness is a type of heart defect. So we must understand the structure, the how a normal heart works before we can go into more detail about VSD and PDA. So here is a diagram of your heart. So first, you all know that when you breathe, your blood will get oxygen, and so it will move into your heart to get it processed. So first, it will move into the right side of your heart and straight into your lung, and at lung, it will process of that oxygen blood so that you can breathe normally, and then move it back to the left side and pump out the blood into all parts of your body. And during the circulation process, there are a wall which is called a ventricular septum that's separating the blood from left to pump into right. And in VSD, and to those who have VSD, there are a hole. And keep this in your mind, but then the left always pump much harder than the right. This is because the left need to pump all this blood up to your part of your body. And now, when imagine this, of the blood that's supposed to pump into your body, now go all into your lung. This not only making the lung being overexhausted, but also your heart. Why? This is because now your heart need to carry out this extra blood that doesn't need to be carried, and also it need to fit into the vein to get into, which is like a hallway into the lung. Now, and for the reason why did this happen, it still remains unknown. VSD is happening during your 8 week of heart development. So you just cannot look at it, you just cannot know when it happened, and it happened can be randomly. Most scientists notice that it can be genetically totally. Now we are done with VSD. Let's continue with PDA. PDA is stands for patent ductus arteriosus. Patent here is not closing. Ductus is what you have before birth. It's only useful before birth. So what ductus is for? A ductus is what connecting your left and right heart, which is the pulmonary and the aorta. So why is it used for? Before birth, your lung is not fully developed yet. So you need it because you can transfer most of the blood to more useful place, such as your body. So after birth, the ductus is no longer needed because increasing oxygen. You start breathing, so your lung is fully developed. Next, there's no longer for order to us to understand why it is not closing, we must understand the reason why it closed. So there are two. First, the child start to breathe. That means your lung is now fully developed. The second reason, you stop getting blood from your mom. Procrastinate, you no longer need blood from your mom, so there's not that much blood to pump into lung anymore. So one or two of these reasons while having childbirth could lead to the ductus not closing. So what having PDA? So when the ductus is not closing, it's similar to VSD. They're having a hole. Just hurts will now get too much pressure, and also your lung That is how VSD and PDA. How can we prevent or cure congenital illness? How? Ah! So, sorry guys, we're coming back to prevention and cure. So as I said earlier on, there are no prevention, no cure yet. Though there are medical treatment or surgical that can at least minimize the risk. Now, medical treatment or surgical for VSD or PDA. Let's start with VSD. If the infant or newborn child are facing VSD that's large, or there are any sign of heart failure or hypertension, you should get heart surgical, open heart surgical, to close the VSD, to close the hole. Or if the child or infant with VSD survive within or more than 6 months of with the hole without any sign of heart failure, we will reduce the diuretic and increase it caloric formula, which will minimize the risk. And for PDA, the first one is medical treatment before we need to further surgery. Is that the NSAID, which is a type of treatment that to minimize. NSAID will help you to reduce procrastination. It will stop reducing level and close the ductus. And for then is the next is the surgical. There are two ways: cold occlusion or PDA ligation. For PDA ligation is the old technique one, which is you tie off the ductus, but then there's a lot of risk with that because of the side effect of open heart surgical. The coil occlusion is that you put in a tube and then snuggle out of the blood, all kind of that, and then close off the ductus. But then this is the new modern way that minimize the side effect of open heart surgical. Well, you, my friend, you can be the next scientist who discover the way to cure congenital illness. Believe in yourself.
VSD or stand for ventricular septal defect, mostly affect to the heart and lungs. With overriding aorta, the person got bluer skin because of the low oxygen in blood, and with the small hole in heart, it's not affect much to it work, but with the bigger hole, the heart and lung could overwork, and especially during exercises. Right ventricular hypertrophy affect to the chest, cause pain, swelling, and soft breathing. Patent ductus arteriosus cause breathing problem, growing problem, and easily get respiratory infection. When the person got PDA, the blood flow from the aorta to the pulmonary, which make the heart and lungs work harder and could congested. And now we're going to talk about congenital illness in Vietnam. The percent of children got this illness is 33%, which means every 13 minutes there will be one child born with congenital illness. Finally, conclude our presentation. Does VSD separate the heart lower chamber and allow the blood to pass from the left to the right side of the heart? And about PDA also referred to as a palm-top, handheld, a computer or pocket computer. And both of VSD and PDA affect to the child health and development. Leonardo da Vinci said that medicine is restoration of discordant element. Sickness is discord of elements infused into the living body. Congenital illness can have numerous of causes, like genetic, brain trauma, shock, and heart issue. So it will affect to our health very much. So we have to be careful with it.